A major gameplay update has been released and brought massive changes to the game, and today we will look at the most important changes, what they mean for the game, and whether they are good or not. Here comes Pepper. Welcome everybody! Let's kick off the video with changes to the kickoff. If you take a look at Shevchenko, players won't just run towards the goal immediately now. Same here for my opponent, his two attackers start off slowly and take a while before sprinting to the goal. It's a great change, it's so simple, yet effective against many kinds of kickoff shenanigans. The next change is a massive one, through balls. Through balls can be played into open space now and are a lot more realistic, and honestly, also a lot more enjoyable to do. Konami really nailed this. What this means is that for strikers, acceleration and speed are now more important than ever compared to dribbling. The reason is, if you look at this, the pass is played now and Shevchenko is about at the end of the circle. And only here he gets to touch the ball. Before the update, he'd get the ball earlier and had to dribble for a while. So in these situations, dribbling is a bit less important than acceleration and speed now. I also really like how timing the ball correctly feels just really good. What's also very good about this is that the passing stat finally really matters. I feel not as much as with lofted passes that we'll be talking about soon, but a lot more than before. This actually gives orchestrator type players such as Pirlo, Busquets or Alonso a way better place in the game. I also gave my Vieira and a few other players more passing now. The only thing I'm a bit worried about is that together with the defensive changes, which I'll be discussing in detail in a second, it might be too easy to attack now and we might end up with an even harder through ball meta than the through ball meta that was almost always present anyway. But even if, at least it would be more fun to attack. Some other thing I noticed is that since this update, blitz curlers seem to work a lot better. I don't think I've ever had a higher percentage of blitz curlers actually going in. It might be an outlier or maybe just luck, or it was buffed a bit. Maybe you guys can share your experience in the comments so we can compare. Before we get to defending, let's check out the new lofted through passes. These are also really a joy to do. If you look at Pirlo here, if you time the pass right, they are super powerful and can make for some really nice plays. It also makes a big difference who does them. Pirlo will get them right most of the time and serve them smooth as butter to your strikers. In contrast, Cannavaro's butter for instance, it might have slightly expired already. This also goes for lofted passes that are not through balls, by the way. If the player has bad passing skills, the lofted passes will get very high and oftentimes not very accurate. The good thing about the new lofted through balls is that you're getting rewarded for good timing. If you don't time them well or you just randomly try them, they will not be very useful. Now, besides good passers, which has been long overdue, this again also benefits players with great acceleration and speed. However, I think there might also be a physical component with lofted through balls. If you look here, the great Makai has like 89 or 90 physical contact and can prevent the defender Tomori from clearing, while also moving in front of him on his own. I'm fairly sure non-physical strikers could not have done it. But you know, the new version is still young, hard to figure out something definite. But I'd welcome this because since update 4, physical strikers were finally getting better for once. And Makai deserves to be better, we all know this. Another big change was done to defending. Defending is sort of more manual now, which I really welcome. It's hard to explain exactly, but the game just isn't doing as much for you anymore. I think sliding tackle was always important, but is even more important now for some clutch saves. There are also some new sliding tackle animations. This one here I like in particular because it makes a big difference. If you look here, before the update, the sliding tackle would have just gone straight, meaning if your opponent was a bit too fast, you'd not only have a foul call against you, but also a card, maybe even a red card if you're unlucky. This animation makes the player slide in front of the opponent and then use one foot to kick the ball without risking a foul. I've seen at least one new other one that was like when sliding from behind, so perhaps there are even more. I like this. Now, as we've already seen and will be seeing further, there are a lot of more ways to attack now, making it significantly easier than before the update. They, however, also made defending worse, and I wonder if this was a bit too much, or at least in the wrong way. Looking here, for example, my Gullit should never ever get this ball. My opponent's Van Dijk is so close here already and should easily just pick up the ball. But it seems he's like, yeah, I could get the ball, but you know, we defenders artificially have to be a bit more stupid now, so we have to let the ball through every now and then. Sorry, not sorry. I feel like blocking balls is also a lot worse now. Look at this. My Zakaria is directly in front of the opponent. Next to him I have Pirlo, who I even move a bit next to Zakaria so I can cover a greater area in case the shot goes to the lower corner. Both of them have very high defensive stats. Zakaria especially has a crazy ID with amazing leg coverage. Yet the ball is just forced through because Zakaria makes some weird stepping back, dancing with the stars motion. Another example is this, where Cannavaro is so close to the opponent that he should be able to block the shot, because I even press matchup. If at least the game would punish me here for holding the L stick into the wrong direction at the last second, and it would be consistently this way, it would be fine. But as far as I have noticed so far, L stick still doesn't matter for matchup, and in this case, this shot should be blocked. Remember this animation, by the way. Here's another example of artificially worse defending. My opponent's player is literally at the ball already, but just doesn't take it, but lets me pass. I feel like I should have lost the ball there. Something else that I found weird is that sometimes players would just have really strange collisions and back and forths that also seem to be very arbitrary and kind of dependent on luck. Great sliding tackle by my opponent here, by the way. I should have passed earlier, was my mistake. Here another of these weird kind of stuck in each other animations. It would be cool if they fixed this. Next part, interceptions. Sometimes they work quite well, like in these examples here. Other times they are very inconsistent. Look here, Gullit should be close enough to just take the ball. I'm also holding matchup, but the game doesn't care. But it gets even worse. Again, I absolutely know where this pass is going. My player is close. Gullit knows where this pass is going. I'm pressing matchup. Even the directional input is on point. Not that it matters. But instead of being a great interceptor, Gullit is, what, a horse? Gullit horseman? Like seriously, what was he even trying to do there? Here another one. Now, Pirlo might be just a bit too far away to get this. That's absolutely fine. Vieira, however, is in a prime position to intercept, yet just ignores the ball. So here's the thing. I think, of course, I'm not sure, I don't know, so take it with a grain of salt. I think they even made specific animations for failed interceptions or blocks that should actually not have failed, like this animation here. Here, I think the ball actually goes through the player model because the animation couldn't play in time due to the ball being so close. Same here. So the way I see it, I absolutely agree that it would be okay to nerf blocks and interceptions, but what I disagree with is that it includes a random element and becomes sort of a dice roll. In my opinion, if you position your player correctly and press matchup in time, you should be rewarded with a ball, without any kind of random element. What they could have done, and maybe did, I've only been playing for 2 days, is to just decrease the blocks and interceptions maximum ranges. So they are just overall a bit weaker, and Vieira can no longer intercept balls from other countries. But positioning yourself properly and not getting the ball due to dice roll, maybe some people disagree, which would be fine, but I don't like it. Like, look at this. I should have shot at the goal here rather than making a pass. But instead of punishing me for my mistake and let Costa Curta intercept the pass, the game just waves the ball through and gifts me the goal I never deserved. This doesn't even feel good. So I'm not quite happy with everything they did to defending. I like the more manual aspect, but I dislike the seemingly more random elements. But who knows, maybe they will adjust this. Now, something else I've noticed, I think this has been in previous versions because I remember that I've done this before, but I'm not sure how well it worked. So again, take it with a grain of salt. I'm not sure if there were any changes there, but it might be good to know either way. In this situation, you can already see that my Guti is kind of losing the duel towards the ball. Stat-wise, unless my opponent is using a very creative build for Albert Ferrer, his player is both both faster and stronger physically. I should have no chance getting the ball here. However, I then super cancel and take my player off the rails, resulting in his player seemingly focusing more on my player rather than the ideal path to the ball, which in return then lets my player run past. Now look, I'm even fairly ahead now. As said, I'm not sure if anything changed or if this was just coincidence. The next aspect about the update that I want to cover are fake shots. They have always been solid and I mostly use them to dribble through people and then fail finishing. In this clip from Ludovic here, thank you by the way, you can see that fake shot is now a lot better at tricking defenders than before. If you look here, the distance between Ronaldinho and Maldini is really massive for a fake shot to trigger a defending animation. Of course, we can't know if he really used matchup, but it's very likely. As said, I agree with many things Konami did. The game is in a way better state now and way more fun, but so many things to make attacking easier and defending worse at the same time might be a bit too much. We will see. What was also already strong before, but seems even better now, are outside curlers, especially for passing. Makai, what? Okay, that's better. Goalkeepers also got a few new animations, and in my opinion, I also had the feeling that they are a bit better now than before the update. Something else about the update is that first timing seems to be a lot less accurate, even if your player has the corresponding skills. Like look here, Makai should never ever fail this one. Never. Not even blindfolded. No. Or here, Snyder has great passing stats, he even has phenomenal passing to decrease the angle penalty, but the pass ends up pretty bad because it's a first time. So yeah, these were kind of the most important things. I also noticed that defenders seem to take longer to pass now if they have bad passing stats. Not sure if I like that one. I think passes just being less accurate could be enough, but not sure. Chip shots are also a lot better than before the update. And yeah, I think we're done. That's it, folks. Let me know if you liked this video. I'd love if you subscribed, liked, or commented. Until then, guys, take it easy. Shaka!